The year was 1978. Bell-bottoms, disco, and the open road beckoned with promises of freedom and adventure. For the Peterson family, John, a hard-working engineer in his late 30s, Sarah, his vivacious wife, a homemaker with a passion for photography, also in her late 30s, and their two children, 12-year-old Emily, a bright and imaginative girl, and 8-year-old Michael, an energetic boy with an infectious laugh. A summer road trip through the American Midwest was meant to be a cherished memory. They were a typical American family from a quiet suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota, looking forward to 2 weeks of exploring national parks and small towns, a much-needed escape from the daily grind. Their trusty, albeit slightly worn, 1976 Ford Limited station wagon, packed with luggage, snacks, and a map meticulously highlighted by Sarah, was their vessel for this grand adventure. The air was thick with the promise of summer, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of freshly cut grass and distant thunderstorms. The sky, a vast canvas of cerulean blue, stretched endlessly above them as they pulled out of their driveway, waving goodbye to their neighbors, oblivious to the chilling fate that awaited them. Their journey began with the usual excitement of a family vacation. Laughter filled the car as Michael pointed out cows in fields and Emily read aloud from a travel guide. John, a meticulous planner, had charted a route that would take them through scenic byways and charming small towns, avoiding the bustling interstates. Sarah, ever the documentarian, snapped photos of roadside attractions and the children's beaming faces. The first few days were idyllic, a blur of roadside diners, historical markers, and evenings spent in cozy motels. They visited a quirky museum dedicated to corn, marveled at a giant ball of twine, and even got a flat tire in a tiny town where the mechanic offered them homemade pie. These were the moments that families cherished, the simple joys of being together, disconnected from the demands of everyday life. The landscape shifted from rolling farmlands to dense forests, the air growing cooler as they ventured further north, towards the pristine lakes and wilderness areas of northern Minnesota. The scent of pine needles and damp earth replaced the smell of exhaust fumes, and the sounds of crickets and distant loons filled the evening air. Their last known contact was a postcard sent from a small town near Lake Superior, addressed to Sarah's sister, Martha. The postcard, postmarked July 14, 1978, depicted a picturesque lighthouse and a handwritten message from Sarah, "Having a wonderful time. The kids love the lake. Heading west towards the Iron Range tomorrow. See you soon. Love, Sarah." This postcard, a seemingly innocuous memento of a family vacation, would become the last tangible piece of communication from the Petersons for decades. Martha, a busy mother of 3, didn't think much of it at the time. Families often extended their trips, or plans change. But as days turned into a week, and then 2, with no further word, a knot of unease began to tighten in her stomach. The initial casual concern morphed into genuine worry, then into a gnawing fear. The phone calls to their home went unanswered, the mailbox remained untouched. The vibrant energy of the Peterson family, once a constant presence, had simply vanished. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the lively chatter that usually emanated from their home. The summer sun continued to shine, but for Martha and the rest of the family, a cold shadow had fallen. The world, once full of possibilities, now felt menacing and uncertain. The local authorities were initially hesitant to launch a full-scale investigation. Missing persons reports were common, and often, families simply returned home after an unexpected delay. However, Martha's persistent calls and the complete lack of any activity on the Petersons' bank accounts or credit cards eventually spurred them into action. The small-town sheriff, a grizzled veteran named Hank Miller, remembered the family from their postcard. He dispatched deputies to retrace their last known steps, interviewing motel owners, gas station attendants, and anyone who might have seen the Ford Limited. The search began in earnest, but the vastness of the northern Minnesota wilderness proved to be an insurmountable obstacle. The dense forests, countless lakes, and remote logging roads offered endless possibilities for a car to simply disappear. The initial optimism of the search teams slowly gave way to frustration and despair. Every lead seemed to hit a dead end, every tip proved to be a false alarm. The summer heat gave way to the crisp air of autumn, and then the biting cold of winter, each passing season further diminishing the hope of finding the Petersons alive. The case, once a local sensation, began to fade from the headlines, becoming another unsolved mystery in the annals of missing persons. The Peterson home, once a beacon of family life, stood silent and empty, a stark monument to their absence. Neighbors, initially eager to help, slowly returned to their routines, the memory of the vanished family becoming a hushed whisper. Martha, however, refused to give up. She plastered flyers with their photos across the state, contacted every missing persons organization she could find, and spent countless hours on the phone, chasing down every conceivable lead. The emotional toll was immense. The joy of family gatherings was replaced by a pervasive sadness. Holidays became painful reminders of their absence. Emily and Michael's birthdays passed year after year, their ages frozen in time, their futures unwritten. John and Sarah's parents, heartbroken and bewildered, slowly succumbed to the grief, never knowing what became of their children and grandchildren. The case became a cold case, a file gathering dust in a police archive, a tragic footnote in the history of the region. Yet, for Martha, the search never truly ended. She carried the weight of their disappearance with her every day, a silent promise to her sister that she would never stop looking. The world moved on, but for Martha, time had stopped on that fateful summer day in 1978. What do you think happened to the Peterson family? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gripping true crime stories. The decades that followed were a testament to Martha's unwavering resolve. She became an amateur detective, poring over old maps, reading every news article, and even learning about forensic techniques. The advent of the internet brought new avenues for investigation, and Martha found solace and support in online communities dedicated to cold cases. She connected with other families of missing persons, sharing stories and strategies, finding a sense of camaraderie in their shared grief. The police, while sympathetic, had long since exhausted their resources. The original investigators had retired, and the case files were buried deep in the archives. Yet, Martha's persistence occasionally sparked renewed interest, leading to brief, often fruitless, searches. She learned about new sonar technologies, about advancements in DNA analysis, and about the power of social media to bring attention to forgotten cases. She never lost hope, even as the years etched lines of sorrow onto her face. The memory of Emily and Michael, forever young in her mind, fueled her relentless pursuit of the truth. She imagined them grown, with lives and families of their own, a bittersweet fantasy that kept her going. In the early 2000s, a new generation of cold case investigators, inspired by Martha's dedication, took a fresh look at the Peterson file. Detective Mark Johnson, a young and ambitious officer, was particularly moved by the story. He saw the faded photographs of the smiling family and felt a profound sense of injustice. He began to re-interview witnesses, re-examine evidence, and apply modern investigative techniques to the decades-old mystery. He utilized advanced mapping software to analyze the Petersons' last known route, cross-referencing it with historical weather patterns and geological data. He focused on the vast network of lakes and rivers in northern Minnesota, areas that had been difficult to search thoroughly in 1978. The technology available now was light years ahead of what was available back then. Sonar equipment, once rudimentary, could now create detailed three-dimensional maps of lake beds, revealing anomalies that might have been missed before. Johnson believed the answer lay hidden beneath the surface, a silent witness to a long-forgotten tragedy. The breakthrough came in the winter of 2018, 40 years after the Petersons vanished. A team of volunteer divers, equipped with state-of-the-art sonar, was conducting a training exercise in Lake Superior, near the area where the Petersons' postcard had been sent. The lake, a vast and unforgiving body of water, was known for its treacherous currents and frigid depths. As they scanned a particularly deep and remote section, an unusual anomaly appeared on their sonar screen. It was a distinct, rectangular shape, partially obscured by sediment, but unmistakably man-made. The divers, seasoned professionals with years of experience, knew they had found something significant. The coordinates were immediately relayed to Detective Johnson, who, with a mix of trepidation and excitement, mobilized a recovery team. The lake was frozen solid, requiring specialized equipment to cut through the thick ice. The air was biting cold, the wind whipping across the desolate landscape, creating an eerie silence that was only broken by the hum of the machinery. The world held its breath as the recovery operation began, a glimmer of hope piercing through 4 decades of darkness. The recovery operation was a painstaking and emotionally charged process. As the ice was carefully cut away, revealing the dark, frigid water below, specialized underwater cameras were deployed. What they saw sent a shiver down the spines of even the most hardened investigators. There, at a depth of over 150 feet, lay the unmistakable silhouette of a 1976 Ford Limited station wagon, its once vibrant blue paint faded and encrusted with algae, its windows shattered. The car was remarkably intact, a ghostly relic from a bygone era. The recovery team worked meticulously, battling the extreme cold and the immense pressure of the deep water. Divers carefully attached cables to the vehicle, and slowly, agonizingly, it was hoisted to the surface. As the car emerged from the icy depths, a collective gasp went through the crowd of onlookers, which included a now elderly Martha, her eyes filled with a mixture of dread and profound relief. The sight of the car, a tangible link to her vanished family, was both a confirmation of her worst fears and the beginning of an answer. The forensic examination of the recovered vehicle and its contents was a meticulous and heartbreaking process. Inside the car, amidst the debris and sediment, were the skeletal remains of 4 individuals. Dental records and DNA analysis quickly confirmed their identities: John, Sarah, Emily, and Michael Peterson. The children's small shoes, a faded teddy bear, and Sarah's camera, its film long ruined, were found among their belongings, poignant reminders of the lives abruptly cut short. The initial examination of the car revealed no signs of foul play. The doors were locked from the inside, and there were no bullet holes or signs of forced entry. The most crucial piece of evidence was the gearshift, which was found in the drive position. The investigation concluded that the Petersons' car had likely veered off a remote, unpaved road during a sudden, severe snowstorm, a common occurrence in that region during the late fall or early winter. The road, slick with ice and obscured by heavy snowfall, would have offered little traction. The car, likely traveling at a moderate speed, would have slid uncontrollably down an embankment and plunged into the freezing lake. The impact would have been sudden, and the frigid water would have quickly incapacitated them. It was a tragic accident, a cruel twist of fate that had remained hidden for 40 years. The news of the discovery and the subsequent findings brought a bittersweet closure to Martha and the remaining Peterson relatives. The pain of their loss was still profound, but the agonizing uncertainty had finally ended. They now knew what had happened, and they could finally lay their loved ones to rest. A quiet memorial service was held, attended by family, friends, and even some of the original investigators who had worked on the case. The Peterson family, once a vibrant part of their community, was finally given a proper farewell. Their story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the unforgiving power of nature and the fragility of life. The frozen lake, once a silent keeper of a dark secret, had finally relinquished its truth, bringing an end to a 4-decade-long mystery. The case of the vanished Peterson family, once a cold case, was now officially closed, leaving behind a legacy of enduring love, relentless hope, and the quiet strength of a sister who never gave up. The best is yet to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more incredible true crime stories. The resolution of the Peterson case resonated deeply with the public, sparking renewed interest in other cold cases and highlighting the dedication of those who tirelessly seek answers. For Martha, the closure brought a profound sense of peace, allowing her to finally grieve openly and fully. She often visited the quiet cemetery where her family now rested, bringing flowers and sharing stories, keeping their memory alive. The lake, once a symbol of dread, now held a different meaning. A place where her family had found their final resting place, a silent testament to their journey. The story of the Peterson family, though tragic, became a powerful narrative of resilience, the enduring human need for truth, and the unwavering bond of family love that transcends time and loss. It served as a poignant reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope can persist, and the truth, no matter how long it takes, will eventually emerge from the shadows. What are your thoughts on this heartbreaking discovery? Let us know in the comments below, and if you found this story compelling, please subscribe to our channel for more true crime mysteries and real-life disappearances. Your support helps us bring these important stories to light.